technology a lot, given that it's...
Yes, I think I was the first to start using computers way back in the mid-80s. So I used to use the dictaphone, the transcriber, the computer, the laptop. I've done the works. I also have I use a Dragon too. So yes, I'm very savvy.
Yes. So you were instrumental in setting up the mediation center in Chennai. And I understand that somewhere in 91, when you went to the Salzburg seminar, that was a turning point. So can you tell us something about that and what it was about mediation?
It was a time I'd finished 15 years at the bar, yes, and I was getting to be very dissatisfied with law practice for the simple reason that, I would win cases, yes. It wasn't really improving the lives of my clients. There was a disconnect somewhere. We were doing things, we were doing them as best as we could, but they were not improving people's lives. And it bothered me. It also bothered me that sometimes you do a case, you just worsen things for people, you damage relationships. Okay. I didn't quite know how to sort this out. I went to Salzburg in 91. It was, the Salzburg seminar is held in Salzburg in Austria. It's a great seminar. They hold about 15 seminars a year on different subjects. What they do is they take, about 20, 30 mid-level professionals from all over the world, and they put them in along with a few, top-level people in that profession. And we had actually gone in on an environment issue. It was harmonizing environment and development. But the method they chose to harmonize environment and development was mediation. So that's when I got my first insights into it. And by the way, that Salzburg seminar is held at that same castle where they shot The Sound of Music. Yes, it's a great place, lovely place. So that was my first initiation to mediation, and I took to it like a fish to water. And I realized that this was like the missing component. That here is a way you can use to bring about, people to an agreement, to bring solutions. Instead of dividing people more, you bring them together to an agreement which they both accept, and then that ends the dispute and often, repairs or restores a relationship. For me, it was like, something falling into place, the missing pieces coming in. So I came back and I started to write and speak about it and actually try out mediation in cases, yes. I tried a number of cases and it worked. So I think Salzburg was the one great, turning event in my life. And I think the second was in 2000, 2001. I wanted to research some more. I realized that mediation works, and then how do you get it into the system? Nothing was happening here. America was a place where they do a lot of it, and I wanted to go and spend some time. Fortunately for me, New York University School of Law invited me to come out to teach that year. Because I had done work in public interest law, and they were starting a new public interest law program, a master's course. So they had students coming from, all over the world, and they wanted a practitioner to co-teach. So they said, will you come for this? And I said, yes, I'll come, but I want to do research on mediation. And they said, we'll organize all that for you. So I spent a great year, So 1990, 2000, and this is another 10 years after. And I met a whole range of people, judges, mediators, lawyers, court staff. And so that was the second big thing for me in mediation, that 1 year abroad. I came back, and then in 2005, Justice Kaju, who's now on the Supreme Court, I discussed this idea with him, and Justice Kaju just took to it like that. I think he's done the most for mediation in this country. He said, let's set up a court center. Yes. It was unheard of. It was the first time it was being tried. He said, we'll set up a court center, and he said, you take it over, you run it. So there were a few of us, just 2-3 of us who had some idea about mediation. So we got 2 rooms, and that's all we got. We took in our own furniture. I took my dining table to the High Court, put it in a mediation center to do mediations there. We did up the place ourselves, brought in furniture. We developed everything from scratch. The forms, the notices, the processes, what the things to be called, how do you do it, everything's from scratch. But we built it up. I think we spent 10:30 till 4:30 I was a litigator, yes. After 4:30 I was a mediator. And routinely, I think I stayed there till 9 o'clock every night for the first 3 years. Yes. Happy to carry both. I've never switched off from being a litigator, but happy to carry both. And so it worked. We had good cases, some very big ones. We did a case for, to settle the dispute in Standard Motors. It was 70 crores. The factory being closed down in 94. And till 2006, the workers had not got their dues because they were fighting 2,196 workers, and the banks were there, they wanted their money. This carried on for 12 years. It was sent to mediation, and in 3 months we got a settlement. So at one function, the Chief Justice distributed, the money to the families of these workers. It was such a moving event that day. And I think to crown it all, the President of India came to the center. He heard about it, and he expressed a desire to come. So Dr. Kalam came to the center in 2006. He came and he blessed the place, and he said, "This is great work." So we put it on the map, and after we done this, then we helped the high courts of Delhi, Allahabad, and other high courts. We even done something with the Supreme Court, and Justice Kaju has been a great mover for this. Shown judicial leadership that way. So he and now Justice Ravindran done a lot for it. So if you really look at it now, you'll find that in the last 5 years, mediation in India has moved a lot. I think 3/4 of the country's high courts now have mediation, and in just 5 years. So that's a hell of a movement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you spoke about never switching off from being a litigator. How difficult was it? Because when you are litigating, you're always on one side. And mediation, you're not on any side. You're a neutral third party.
Yeah.
How difficult was it?
Good question. The thing with me is I've always used my legal skills right through, of course, as a litigator. In public interest law, again, I bring legal skills into it. I'm using the law. But to answer your question specifically on mediation, you said, you're doing it partisan as a litigator, and you're trying to get both sides. You have to change hats. Okay, you have to change hats. But any good lawyer will tell you that as a partisan, I'm playing a role as a lawyer. I'm advocating a client's case, okay? Barring a few cases, which are really the justice cases, but I don't want to be doing the case for the other side. I will not do it. But a whole lot of other cases, commercial issues, etc. I'm doing the case for this person, but I might just as easily be arguing for the other side. There, essentially, we play a role. We play a role of being the best advocate as possible for the client. That's the way the system works. But what you need to realize is that you can use your legal skills in different ways. Okay. In a mediation, I use my legal skills because I get people to see, how their cases may not be all that great, the weak points of their case. I help them to craft, legally sustainable solutions. But insofar as, working with people, getting them around a table, getting them to understand each other, enabling them to communicate, looking at their interests, throwing up options, these are all completely different from litigation. So maybe the only answer really which I can give there is that I'm blessed to be able to do both.
How easy or difficult is it for you to convince the litigants to go through this process of mediation?
Much more difficult before, much easier now. Now that it's got accepted and the courts have mediation centers and people read about it and they know what it's all about, it's much easier now to say, why don't you mediate this case? It's not difficult now.